The white South Carolina man accused of gunning down black parishioners inside a church will stand trial for that crime. A federal judge finding on Friday that 22-year-old Dylann Roof is competent to stand trial. That judge declining to release the transcript of the two-day competency hearing, saying it could jeopardize Roof's chance for a fair trial. Roof faces the death penalty, accused of killing 9 people inside a Charleston church last year in what prosecutors call a hate crime. Let's bring in the legal panel. David Schwartz, a defense attorney, former prosecutor. Mercedes Cohen is a Fox News legal analyst. Good to see you both.
Great to see you.
Yeah. So, David, let me start with you. Competency is completely different than insanity, which may be his eventual defense.
Absolutely. Competency to stand trial is the defendant able and competent to stand trial? Does he understand the proceedings? Can he assist in his own defense? As opposed to insanity, which is, did he understand the nature and consequences of his actions at the time that the actions were committed?
You're convinced that he's going to invoke an insanity defense when the trial begins in earnest, and I think jury selection begins Monday. Why do you think insanity?
Undoubtedly. I mean, certainly the defense is already feathering that nest. They're always saying to the judge, look, you're going to be managing all these evidentiary rulings. We just want you to know, Judge, he's not sane. That's why we're setting forth this competency proceeding.
Right.
But the juries are going to have such a difficult time. And frankly, how smart of the defense attorneys to put it out there in the community that this man really may have been so insane he couldn't even understand the charges.
So the defense will be, the moment he pulled the trigger, that he had a mental disease or defect so severe he didn't understand right from wrong, right? Problem is, when they caught him, he confessed.
Exactly.
And he confessed his motivation and reasons. He wanted to ignite a race war. So his own confession undermines his insanity.
Oh, undoubtedly. And that's what the real difficulty is going to be for the defense. They're going to say, like, where are we going with this? He was so insane that he confessed to doing this. It's almost a parade of horribles for the defense. And frankly, what their motivation behind the insanity defense, let's just keep him alive.
Right.
This jury is going to say, wait a minute. So did he know what he was doing when he killed 1? Did he know when he's doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9?
I know
you're going to tell me you never knew?
You're going to give the countervailing argument.
I am. Just from a legal standpoint, insanity is at the time that the crime is committed.
That's what I said.
And the insanity could be turned off even 5 minutes later
what about this?
during the questioning. It's a
He
long
had
shot.
He had his own website, David, a manifesto, in which he posed with symbol of white supremacists and neo-Nazis, and he lays out in his manifesto what he's going to do, his view towards blacks and other people. That's deliberation. It's malice of forethought.
It's a tough haul. However, you have to be you have to be insane to sit there for an hour and pray with people.
You just have to be
deliberate. That is absolutely deliberate. David, that's deliberate. He even said to the 3 survivors, I want you to be alive so you can tell these people what I did that I killed for.
Let me finish my statement. Whether or not it rises to the level of legal insanity is a whole nother question. That's all I was going to say here. I know.
His confession, he lays it out in his website manifesto, what he's going to do and the reasons he's going to do it. I mean, talk about willful with deliberation and malice of forethought. I mean, that's it.
Exactly. And you've got 3 survivors that have heard this and that saw the horrible carnage. And he said, I'm going to keep you alive so you can go out there and say to these people, I killed these individuals because of their race.
Why is it insane for him to sit there for an hour before he pulls out his gun? Why is that insane?
Let's take the legal part out of this. That is insane. There isn't a person who wouldn't think that's an insane human being.
Because you're looking at it from a rational mind.
Anyone who would sit there for an hour and pray with people, that person's insane. Whether or not they're legally
sick and twisted, but it's not
But whether
insane.
or not it rises to the legal insanity definition is a whole nother story
altogether. You're a great lawyer, but you're not going to be able to look at this jury and say,
Jury selection begins on Monday. There's no change of venue. Can he get a fair trial?
Well, there's definitely going to have jurors that are going to sit in that box and say, we'll give him a fair trial, and I'm sure they're going to uphold their oath.
Can he get a fair trial?
No.
O.J. Simpson got a fair trial.
No.
Yeah.
You know what? It's very hard in today's day and age to ever get a fair trial. Forgetting about this case, which is the top of.
I think
Not
O.J.
at
Simpson
all.
would disagree with you.
Exactly. He was exonerated.
You got to change jurisdiction. You have to get it out of the
No.
jurisdiction. I mean, it's getting, Greg, with social media.
You
gotta
have
go.
It's
faith
getting
in the
harder
jury
and
system.
harder.
There's
It's
faith in the
getting
jury
hard
system.
for any case. Very hard. to get
We'll
a fair
continue
trial.
after the
Mercedes,
break.
David. We'll continue the argument.
Thank you.
I want to shift gears now to a bit of a happier note. The zoo